welcome back to another episode of Last Call Games. I tried to record this earlier and then it didn't work. So today we're going to play Forest Warrior, which is a kind of like a wave-based zombie destruction game. You'll understand it once I play it. Obviously, not sure what these middle ones are. So yeah, that's what we're gonna play today, and we're gonna talk about seven times. First off, Microsoft recently announced. I love that effect when you. I'm gonna turn the volume down a bit because actually the reason that reason I had an issue with the first recording was that my microphone wasn't picking up at all. It was just like pretty quiet. So, okay, first up, Microsoft is officially opening up Xbox Ones to be used as development kits, retail Xbox Ones, like the one you can get for, what's it now, like $300 or something, $350, whatever. The one you can get at GameStop, Target, Best Buy, wherever you feel like going for buying a video game system. You can use that one and use it as a development kit, which means that you don't have to spend a couple $1,000s or whatever on an actual development kit that companies like, say, Midway or like EA and whoever else uses. This is going to be really great for all the smaller independent developers that make games like the one we're playing today, as a matter of fact. They usually make them for Steam because on Steam you don't really need development kits, so you don't need stuff like licensing costs. It's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to make a game on PC as opposed to consoles. Hopefully that can change with this new initiative, program, whatever you want to call it. Now, I remember Microsoft had talked about this, I think when they, like right around when they launched the system, and now they're finally following through on it after two and a half years. I think they almost talked about it with like the Xbox 360, that you can use that with like I think it was like called a DNA platform. But now people are actually able to make games easily and cheaply. I think it's going to be really great, and I think it's going to be good for Microsoft too, so that they can improve their standing. Because remember, they're pretty far behind Sony in terms of sales. Damn it. So yeah, I really do think this is going to be beneficial for everyone involved. That's pretty much all I have to say about that specific one. Hopefully soon I'll become a small-time game developer, and that will make it even more beneficial and good news. But next up, Square Enix, whatever they're called. I think it's just Square Enix. I don't think they got assumed by anyone else. They did a big Final Fantasy VII announcement trailer. They announced the day that it's coming out, and apparently they are going to have a special game or a special mobile game included and stuff. And fantastical stuff like that. And I, like 10 or 12 years ago, Final Fantasy games seemed to be like, the biggest thing. And it was always like, oh, new Final Fantasy games coming out, man. Everybody's got to be on board because, Final Fantasy train's coming. And you gotta stay, you gotta follow it. But now it just seems like maybe it's because the last few Final Fantasy games have been either online only games or have just been not really that great. But I just haven't been really excited for it since like 10. I mean, 11 was a online only MMO, like World of War, or like actually it was more like EverQuest, I would say, because it was actually it came out like before World of Warcraft. But and then 12 was okay. 13 was so massive that it was not really. It just had a lot of issues. And then 14 was also another online only MMO, because that was so popular the first time. Damn it. So yeah, I'm not really super excited for... Damn it. This husky is useless. I just haven't been really excited for a Final Fantasy game in a long time, and this one's not really going to do much to change that. At least right now. Yeah, I died. So, that's just not fun, really, whatsoever. I'll try the hawk, because the husky's kind of useless. Okay, next up, something that I've been talking about for a long time, and it's recently become more basically relevant. A lot of these newer online MMO-ish type games, online only games that you have to be playing with a bunch of other people, and if there's nobody else is online, you have nothing to do. It's not really a problem with the games I'm talking about right now, but basically with the Division right now, ever since one of the updates, there's been this glitch where if you have like a special backpack or whatever, you will like start losing items, and then the game will eventually just like not won't work at all. If you have the special backpack or whatever. The little problem with that is that, so Ubisoft announced that they're aware of the problem and they're working on it. It's a highest priority. And I think they announced that. They said that they made that statement like Wednesday. Thursday they roll out a patch, but the patch isn't fixing the backpack bug. It has nothing to do with that. The most important thing that the patch is fixing is there was an exploit that allowed players to farm bosses for money or weapons or whatever it was that they farm bosses for. And that's something that I've noticed with a few of these online type games is that a lot of times they will focus on keeping players from being able to not do the specific thing they want them to do, instead of fixing actual problems with the game. Damn it. And I saw that it was, I think it was worse with Destiny. When Destiny was, like, vanilla Destiny came out, there was the loot cave, where players could go and find all the loot, and easily pick off enemies because enemies would respawn there. So Bungie went out and like within a few days came out with a patch that like limited the number of respawns and lessened the amount of items or the quality of items that they were giving you. Yeah, I'm just gonna shut up right now because this is just weird. So they spend all their time focusing on that, but vanilla Destiny had like no content. And the Division right now, I mean, I don't know how bad the content is. I haven't played it. I did play vanilla Destiny. I rented it, but I haven't really felt a desire to play the Division at all, just because. But vanilla Destiny had such a dearth of content that most players were getting completely bored by it within a few hours, and they were taking to like dancing around with emotes because that was pretty much the only thing you could do. Or you could try and do the top boss, kind of like when you're playing Pokemon and after you beat the Elite Four in like the first couple of games, there's really nothing for you to do. It was kind of like that, except Bungie and Activision had a vested interest in keeping you playing so that they could get more microtransactions, or because, you know, if you stop playing, you're probably not going to buy the expansion that they want you to come buy 6 months down the line. But still, instead of creating any new content, they spend all their time working on making sure people can't farm for items or money or whatever, or currency or whatever. Which is just so backwards, but it's also like the way that companies do games nowadays. Instead of making the best experience for the customer, they make the best experience for the shareholders. And 500,000 people bought the game, and then 250,000 of them bought the expansion pack that came out a week later, and 250,000 of those people have been purchasing DLC, so we're making $150,000 or whatever. It's just stupid numbers. I should not make numbers. Bad decision. And it's just not. I don't like it as an idea and as a manner of going through with working your company in, because frankly put, focusing on people who aren't the ones buying the games is not going to work for them in the long run. I don't know why it has worked so far, but it will not. Ah, damn it. Okay, enough of me being angry at things. On to something else I could be. Now instead of being angry, I can be sad. 15 years ago, I think it was yesterday, on the 31st, Sega killed the Dreamcast. Officially announced that they were going to stop making systems, and slowly stop making games for it. and that's a really bad. I didn't like it. Obviously, I was sad because I was always a Sega kid. But looking back at it now, I know that the Dreamcast was bound to fail. Let me explain why. The Dreamcast was a fantastic system with a lot of fantastic video games. That's something you can't argue, unless you're a terrible person. But in 1998 and 99, Sega really could not afford to make a video game system. They, ever since the expansions to the Sega Genesis, they had been hemorrhaging money, and as such, and not only have they been hemorrhaging money, they'd also been facilitating distrust with their partners and their customers. A lot of customers were like, why should I get a Sega Saturn if you're probably gonna make something new for it in 6 months or whatever? Because I bought a 32X and now it's completely useless because you made like 15 games for it, or like 32 or whatever. So, and then other companies were like, why should I spend time and energy making a Sega Dreamcast game when I could make a PlayStation 1 game for less money for a larger audience? And I'm pretty sure that Sony will still be making video games in 5-6 years, which was true. Same or a Nintendo 64 game. It's not just a Sony thing. And I can't really argue with them because, you know, Sega had a lot of issues that were endemic to the company, and that weren't things that people could just easily go around and fix. You know, it says like, oh, the bird or it's like, oh, the bird or the whatever the other thing is will protect you from birds for X amount of time, and it really doesn't, honestly. So the bird or the wolf? The wolf's the other one. Yeah, I really don't. I don't know, this game's not terrible, but I don't love it. But I was on Steam Roulette, and that was the reason that I started playing this game, was because Steam Roulette was like, hey, you should play that game. And I have like almost 800 Steam games right now, and I have played like 40. I need to stop buying like Steam sales, or not Steam sales, but you know, mostly like Humble Bundles and stuff like that. What the hell? Was a cutscene? And I'm dead. That was fantastic. Okay. Joy. Okay. 3 more things, and then we're done with this video. Guess the bird is slightly more useful. This week was strange in that there were 2, and one of them, this is actually Dreamcast related. There were 2 different Sega related Flappy Bird clones. The first one was someone made a version of Flappy Bird for the Dreamcast's VMU unit, which is fantastic and incredible. I haven't been able to play it yet because it only will work if the only way you can put it on a VMU is through an SD card loader, which I don't have. But it really does show that there's a really big community that's still interested in the Dreamcast, even 15 years after Sega pretty much officially canned it. And yeah, that's really great. And I've been talking about making a new Dreamcast magazine, and a few people on the Dreamcast Talk forum have seemed interested in it. So we may think about maybe going through with that, probably in the summer, because it's gonna take a while for making a zine or magazine or whatever. But we'll definitely keep your eyes peeled for that, because we will keep you informed. And the second Sega Flappy Bird news, which is two words I never thought I would say, two things I would never thought I would say together. For April Fool's Day today, because April Fool's Day is today, if you live in anywhere that does April Fool's Day, it doesn't really seem to be like a specific thing in like a specific country or whatever, but Sega made a April Fool's Day Big the Cat adventure game, where you play as Big the Cat and you're trying to find Froggy, because that's what Big the Cat is always trying to do. The combat pistol is nice because it has more range, but it has much less power. But in the Sonic, or the Big the Cat game, one of the mini games that's inside of it is you have to play a Flappy Bird clone where you play as Big the Cat. Damn it. Fucking birds. And I never thought I would be playing a Flappy Bird clone where you play as Big the Cat in space. But stranger things have apparently happened. So that's it for like news type things. Good time to die. Just a couple more things to talk about before I end this podcast. You may notice, if you follow me on social media and stuff, I was actually out of town this week. I just got in last night. I was back in Chicago, visiting family and stuff. Got the thing. So that was nice, and it was nice to be back in Chicago, because I haven't been to Chicago since we moved in November. And in one of the things I did while I was in Chicago is I went thrifting to various thrift stores and game stores that I'd gone to when I was living there. And every now and then, especially after I get a huge, really awesome game or find from a thrift store, people will ask, like, how do you find all these awesome things at thrift stores? And there's really one simple thing that you have to do for it. You have to be exceedingly persistent. Ugh, that was terrible. I mean, at least half the times that I go to a video game store, I will come out with nothing. Or I go to a thrift store, say I usually will find something in a video game store. I will leave the place with absolutely nothing because I didn't see anything, or either they didn't have any video games at all, or they didn't really have anything that looked interesting, or I went to one when I was in Chicago. I went to one thrift store. They had 3 different video game systems, a Xbox, a PS2, and a PS1. And it's like, I have 2 Xboxes, and I don't really even need a third one at the moment. I have more than a few PS1s. And the PS2, I wanted a fat PS2, but it was like caked in crap. So I was like, is there a good way to know this is even going to work? Because it didn't have a power adapter either, obviously. And it's like, do I really want to buy a system that might not work and that I really won't be able to test for the better part of a week? Not really. So I left it there. Someone else may have picked it up. It was like $8. And hey, if it works for them, hey, good for them. If it comes with an interesting game inside of it, good for them. I got a copy of Star Wars Battlefront that was inside of a that was inside of a PS2. Damn it, I died again. So yeah, I don't do like videos of when I go thrifting, because I don't do videos outside mostly. Mainly just because I don't want to get thrown out of the place because I was buying something, or because I was videotaping something. So, but there's a few people, like, if you are interested in seeing how it works for people who do thrifting, and I mean, thrifting isn't rocket science, so not super difficult to figure out. I would really suggest there's a pretty popular actually YouTuber called Lazy Game Reviews. He does a series called LGR Thrifts, where he will show you himself going to 8 different Goodwills and coming back with 6 games or something. And I mean, you can't show, because it looks, for him, I would guess that that probably takes him the entirety of a day, whereas mine usually only takes a few hours because I pick places that are really close to each other, and because I live in a major city and I was in a major city. But like, I spent pretty much all day Monday going to various stores and stuff. And actually, next time I die, I will literally list off every single video game that I got. There was nothing really super interesting, because I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of times, if a thrift store has any video games, it's like NBA like 2K6 on the Xbox or something, or not, whatever. It's like some sports game. Maybe, you know, there might be a Guitar Hero for the PS2. I mean, at the various thrift stores I've been to, I cannot remember the last time I actually bought a video game or a Dreamcast game from there. The only one I can remember relatively recently was when I went to Toledo last year. So, okay, now I'm going to list off the games that I got. I was going to show a picture, but the video software I'm using right now doesn't really show pictures that well. I got a CD-ROM Fun Pack. I posted this all in an Instagram picture. CD-ROM Fun Pack for Windows, which has 7 basically knockoff games. I think I'd actually seen a copy of this before, but I never bought it. Clue, which I'd wanted, but for some reason never bought. Maybe I do have a copy of it, because I don't keep as good of track of my PC games. I'm just looking to see if I have a copy of it. I don't see one, but I may have one. Battle Chess for the 3DO. This and the NFL Blitz 2000 manual I actually got at a video game store, People Play Games, which is a really great video game store if you're ever in Chicago. Santa Saves Christmas on a 3.5 floppy drive. Windows 3.1 and a sound card are optional to play the game. The Welcome to PlayStation 3 Blu-ray. I bought my PS3 brand new, but I bought the PS3 Slim, and this appears to have come with like the launch ones. And then I got Sim Farm, which I actually just recently found out was it has like the manual, but it doesn't have the actual game on a disc. So I have to find the 3.5 floppy disks version of that to make it complete. I mean, that was an entire day's worth of thrifting, and it was probably about like 20 bucks tops, or maybe a little more, but that was an entire day's worth, and none of those are really fantastic things. So I mean, that's what you have to deal with, and a lot of times if you are going to go thrifting, you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to spend a lot of time and not find anything. Ugh. So yeah, that's pretty much it for thrifting, and since I just died for this episode for this Let's Cast, I want to thank you very much. And next week, where I'm not actually doing a video this time, I'm going to be doing I'm not going to be doing a review video. I'm going to do a video about, since I was recently out of town, I'm going to do a video about which systems are the best to bring with you when you travel. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be kind of interesting, I hope. And we'll see you next time on Last Call Games.